Hey guys, it's Judy, and this is a project I made for Little Blue Buttons, the design team for February. I was so honored that Olga asked me to be a guest designer. So this image is part of her new release, and there are 3 new Digi releases, but this is the first, the one I chose, and it's called Everyone Needs a Hug. And for the skin tones, I used my usual E000 and E53, and for the hair I am using E55 as the lightest, E57, and E59. And what I love about these digi stamps is that they have all these, where all the lines where you can see all the shadowing. I'm sorry if it's out of screen, but you see like all the dark lines, so you really know where to actually color, where you can do all the darker shades and so forth. Whenever I see the dark lines or any lines, I know that's going to be where I'm going to use a darker color. And as far as printing it out, the images come in a nice size, and then what I usually do is I use my Copic Express, no, my Nina's Solar White, that's what I use, and I put it in the printer, and then I just print it out. I usually do it like a day before just to make sure the ink dries so it won't really smudge or anything. So what I do is on my computer or my printer, I'm able to determine like um, how many images per page. So I believe I chose, um, is it 9? You'll see. I think I zoomed in before. I think I chose 12 images per page. Because you just want to see what size you want the image, and you'll see how large it looks on a regular A2 size card when it's done. But for the jeans, I used my go-to jean colors, which is B93, 95, and 97, I believe. And you'll see his sweatshirt is W4, and then I believe W6 as well. I had zoomed in for this, so I didn't even realize you don't even see where I put my marker caps. But I will definitely leave all my ink choices for Copics on my blog as well. So I did start a new blog, and it's called judybakesandmakes.com, .blogspot.com. I'm sorry. And now I'm just coloring her boots, and I do the darker color first, and then I'm going to fill it in later. And then I noticed I forgot to do the blue jeans on his left leg, so, or the further leg. So you'll see I do fill it in. So more colors: purple, V17, V15, and I believe V11 that I looked at. And then I broke out the chromatics, the grape 2 and grape 1. I like to mix all my markers. And these I had gotten when they were at Tuesday Morning, around Christmas time, I believe. And I love them. They're different from Copics. They are a sturdier nib, I believe. It's a brush nib still. It's a brush and a point. I forget what they call it, but like a bullet point type thing. And I use the brush part, but then it's a lot stiffer than the brush on the Copics. And I am so sorry, I am out of frame. I didn't realize when you zoom in, the camera kind of, well, my area of filming is different. Then I think I realized, I'm like, oops, let me start showing. And I'm finished. There it is. That's the image. So let me show you. I think I fit 1, 2, 3. Maybe it's just 6 images. Sorry. It's like 6 images on like one sheet. So I'm thinking how I'm going to frame the image because that will be the focal point. And it's a picture that, as it says, everyone needs a hug. So I was also looking for stamps that would go with it. So I'm using the Cuttlebug. I love my Cuttlebug. So I do AC and then the paper, the die, and then B on top. And there it is. So I took out the oval and then the oval larger than that. So I'm looking through, that's Crate Papers Acorn Avenue, the 6x6 pad. And I believe I got that in a rack from Stephanie. Steph 10892. Hi, Steph. And so I'm looking through all the cardstock or the pattern papers to see what kind of matched. And for sure, I wanted to use a navy cardstock, and that is from MFT stamps. I'm kind of switched from paper trading to MFT for now, as far as the colors. And I'm trying to look. I love that like blue watercolor background that was in the Acorn Avenue. Then I spent so long. I'm like, oh, I wanna the doily would look so nice, you know, kind of feminine and pretty, and I'm trying to fit that in. So I'm cutting that out because that's going to be my mat, and then you'll see. So I really fiddle around, and then it ended up the doily being too big. I mean, it would have been fine, I think, if I made an 8x8 card or a larger, maybe a square card, but for that it didn't work. And then I ended up, maybe I should cut it or do something, and then it looked funny. So I ended up not using it. I'm sorry, I should have just cut all that out. But I usually, when I'm kind of stuck, I just kind of, all right, let me do something else. So basically I'm cutting out the larger mat, oval mat, to mat the image on because it's going to be navy as well. So, oh, that's my son. He kind of reached in. We're kind of crafting side by side. I'm like, those aren't my hands. So, my cards, I like to keep it nice and simple, clean and simple, because the image, I think, speaks for itself. And you want that to really stand out. And, you know, I don't like to have things too cluttered. So I'm using the Stampin' Up. That's like in that baby blue. I forget the exact name, but it's like a baby blue that that matched great with the watercolor. So I just used my dauber and I inked around the edges of that. And so I'm still trying to think. And I wanted that mat to show a little more of the navy border on the ends. But it does go top to bottom, like it's the very edge of the card. So all it is a mat on the side. And that's a Lawn Fawn stamp, the Feel Better, Get Well or Feel Better one. And there was one that said something about a hug and sending hugs or something like that. And I thought that would be nice, but then this seemed more appropriate. I'm here for you, because the boy or the girl, they're hugging each other, so it seems. So this would be good for like a sympathy card or just you know, someone who needs a little lift. So now I'm looking all over to see how I'm going to mat that sentiment down. And you saw I had that little oval, but that was too small for that image. And then, yay, I'm breaking out all my old school punches. So I'm like, yes, I'm going to use like a border punch, which I have a ton of and I rarely use. But it really adds like a really nice, delicate look, I believe. So, and here I'm trying to line up everything. So I chose 2 borders just to see which one. That's what I like to do. I punch out like 2 different ones and see how it would fit or how it would look. And that I was like, that didn't look as nice. And then that was like the flourish one, which I think I do end up choosing because it looked a lot nicer, centered, and then with the sentiment. So I think I just do like an inch border, and then there it goes on top. And I love having that border with the same color as the matte base of the card. And you see it's kind of messed up on the left, so I am going to trim that where the flourish border is. Or I'm trying to center it. I guess you don't see it on my trimmer. I was trying to center it so I was able to cut that off. Oh, I didn't cut it off yet. Oops. I went to look for some brads. I thought brads or some adhesives. And I thought that navy with the pink heart. I wish I had another one. I would have put both pink hearts. But one will do. You do what you can. Yeah, you use what you have, right? So here you can see I'm trying to figure out how to center it without, looking off center, if that makes sense. So here I am. I'm just going to adhere everything down. And those are my Big Lots adhesives, which I love because those dimensionals are not that thick, and I love them on cards. So that I'm just going to put down on the mat, and then all it is adhering everything down. So once again, check them out. It's little blue button stamps, and that is my card. And for the inside, I'm wondering if yes, I think because it's a dark cardstock, I end up using leftover of that watercolor paper, so you can write on it. Sometimes I just use metallic ink to write on darker cardstock. But there you go. Hope you enjoy.